In one of the earlier videos, I mentioned the keyboard focus mode. You remember it's this button right here that enables it for the edit window. And I also mentioned that there's one available for the clips list and for the groups list. So let me give you a bunch of shortcuts that are far superior to the ones that you just received, and will probably be able to increase the speed of your workflow. Let's start with some of the keyboard focus single key shortcuts that can be used as replacements for the common commands I just gave you. So Command X for cut I gave you earlier. You can also use just X if you have keyboard focus mode on. So just X, and you can see it cuts by using a single keystroke. And let's say we want to copy that. We could go C and then place it here and go V. And those again are single key shortcuts without having to use the command modifier key. There are also some awesome trim type commands that you can use as well. Again, single key shortcuts using the keyboard focus mode. The first one takes and deletes all of the material or trims all of the material in your clip from the front of your clip up to the point at which you have your edit cursor placed. That shortcut is A. So I've placed my cursor and I hit A and it deletes everything up to this point. It's kind of like using a very fast trim tool. Does the same thing. You can trim up to this point like that, but that's much slower than just zooming in on the location you want to cut to and then hit A. The next key command is S. S does the same thing, but it cuts everything from the back of your clip or everything to the right of your edit cursor up to your edit cursor, and that's S. So if I hit S, it deletes all that material. The next command would be the separate command, which you remember is Command E. The single key shortcut for that is the letter B. So if I hit B, it separates my clip. Let me undo that real quick. So A, S, B are the ones I've given you so far. A, S, B, B, B. Okay, a real rapid way to edit the audio or MIDI data that you may be working on. Two of the other commands that I gave you earlier were horizontal zoom. And remember, those are R to zoom out and T to zoom in. Okay, so A, S, B, R, and T are the commands I've given you so far. Now let's look at some of the fade commands that you can use that are single key keyboard focus commands. If you zoom in and want to place a fade, you place your cursor where you want the fade to end and then hit D. That creates a fade from the beginning of your clip up to the point that your cursor is placed. You can also do the same thing at the end of the clip using G. If you had a crossfade here, you could do the same thing as well. You could make a selection and then hit F, and that will create a crossfade. It doesn't bring up the fade dialog box, but it's a quick way to add a fade. Just hit F. If you do the same thing, but hit Command F, it brings up the dialog box. So it gives you one other step that you have to go through. So depending on the speed at which you're needing to edit, and if you've already set your fade in, fade out, or crossfade parameters, you could just make the selection and hit F. One other way to create a crossfade using the Smart tool is to come down here to the bottom of an edit, and you'll see your mouse turns into a crossfade tool. So just click on that, and then you can increase or decrease the size of the fade that you would like. So fading up here, fading here, and doing crossfades by coming to the bottom of an edit point. Okay, let me give you a few examples of how you might use some of these commands that we've talked about. Let's say I want to just take this audio clip right there, and I want to separate that and create small crossfades and have that be just the sample that I want to use. So first thing I'm going to do is turn on tab to transient. So Option Command Tab, make sure that that's turned on. I'm going to zoom in using the T command. Now what I want to do is I want to get over to the beginning of this transient. So I'm going to Tab, and now hit A, and then I'm going to hit Tab to transient again. I'm going to get to this transient. Great, and I'm going to hit S to delete everything from the back of the clip up to my insertion point. Now I want to put some fades on here. So I'm going to go like this, click and hit G, and then zoom in using R, and click right there and say D. Now I've got an edited clip that's ready to place in my mix. Another way to add fades in Pro Tools using the Smart tool is by doing this. So let's go tab to transient, A, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here, and with the Smart tool I'm going to come to the very upper left-hand portion of the clip. You'll see that my mouse turns into this fade icon. Now I can click and I can drag and add a fade that way. I can also click and drag outwards, and it'll add space to the front of my clip and put a fade there as well. So this is another easy way to put a fade on your clip. I'm going to hit the right arrow to go to the end of this clip and do the same thing. Click and drag. So let me give you an example of how to do this. So we'll do the same thing again. Tab, A, Tab, S, zoom back in, click, G, then I'm going to go like this and zoom in and grab with the fade tool and put a cursor there. So in class we'll be spending a lot of time implementing these procedures and implementing these shortcuts that I've been showing you to get you up to speed to using them inside of Pro Tools.